Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And once again, I got this dude.
What's up, brother? What's going on, Streamland? I am JD Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. Been making comic books since the early aughts. Ooh, I'm sorry. That's the first time I ever said that. I use that term. I feel dirty for saying it. I don't think I'm ever going to say it again. I wanted to try it out. You know what I mean? Like a new pair of sneakers, but since the early 2000s. Okay, yeah, like a normal human being. And I'm hanging out with this guy here and a bunch of creators who have been putting their money where their mouth is and making the books that they want to make on their own.
All right, cool. And back for the, I don't know how many times.
I've lost count. I stopped counting. After like 12, I'm just like,
that's it.
I'm back when I'm back. But Marcus. I'm always happy to be here. I'm Marcus McNeal, for those that don't know, editor-in-chief of Odyssey Comics, publisher of great books like Plant Pumpkin #1, which we're going to talk about later on today. And it's always a pleasure to be here with Mr. J. Rosario.
Yeah, my brother. Pleasure to be here with you too.
That's right. That's right. And somebody has to be nice to you. Lord knows not gonna be
I'll take that. I'll take that.
What's up, Carlos?
Hey, how's it going? Carlos Raphael, Champion Comics, Ace Comics, publisher of the New Remarkables, American Revere, Team Supremus, soon to be She is Black Dahlia, and Pandora's Army, which we're launching the Kickstarter next month.
Nice.
All right, cool. Pretty soon, we're gonna have to set you up like Marcus. We're just gonna have to just give you a rolling card. Just a rolling card, you know.
We're trying to do our best.
There you go.
Gentlemen, hello. Glad to be here.
Listen to that smooth radio voice. That was it.
Oh, right. Putting us all to shame.
You caught me sending a message to my wife to see if we can get the toddler to stop doing jumping jacks above me.
That's all right. You should hear the jumping jacks that happens above Jay. It happens all the time.
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark Maia, writer, creator of So-Called Living, which I happen to have a stand that I haven't taken down yet, which is back here.
Nice. All right, cool.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Anthony Castro, DMW Comics, creator of Bad Wabbit. How's everybody doing?
What's doing, Anthony?
Everything's good, Anthony.
I'm good.
Hi, I'm Chris Brimmage, author of Doing Well. How are y'all?
We're good. So I'm sorry. Go for it.
No worries. I'm the author of Angel PI, which is a series of comics and novels. It's a hard-boiled urban fantasy set in a cartoon world with a primate private detective who solves paranormal and occult mysteries. I'm also the author of the Multiverse Askew trilogy, which is a comedic sci-fi adventure series of novels. Super excited to be here.
All right, cool. Thank you as always for being here. So, gentlemen, let's get right down to brass tacks. The show question: why do you stay in this indie comic game? Right. So, you know, we're all in this. We all have our own individual reasons for being in this. Some of us are more delusional than others. Right. Some of us do it, you know, all of us do it for different reasons. So I'm just curious as to why we're doing it. Why each of us in it. We're all doing it for different reasons. And Chris, you're in the hot seat. What you got?
Sure. So I learned to read on comics. So it's one of those things where it's just always been one of my passions. So I do a lot of prose writing as well. So it's just a way to like scratch that creative itch that I just have to scratch, or it just will fester and, you know, bother me for the rest of my life if I don't get these stories out there. So I do comics and prose, and I don't think I could ever stop doing either.
Okay, that's cool. See, it's either right or be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yep. Sounds good. Carlos, what are your thoughts?
Because I don't know any better. I I've been doing this. I started doing this. So quick story. When I first got into comics, I was in second grade. And no, first grade, but second grade when I started really buying. And then some classmates and we started making our first comic books. So we would steal paper from the teacher, and we would fold them, staple them, and then we would start doing our own comics. And then we would like compare and be in the competition. And it started there. And then one day I decided I was going to steal just a bunch of paper and take it home to do. And lo and behold, that day my mom was coming in for a parent teacher thing. And so she met me at the tracks, and I had to actually dump all that paper. It went flying in the wind. And from that point on, yeah, I got in trouble big time for that one. But it went from there. I got out of comics for about 4 years after movers stole all my comics when we moved from New Orleans to Michigan. But when we moved from Michigan to Washington, I got a bunch of comics from my brother, started reading them on the way there, and it reignited that whole thing. And yeah, from that point, I've been making comics pretty much nonstop from that moment on. I made the Royal Breed, which is coming out late this year, after 40 some odd years. And but yeah, it started with the Royal Breed. I made comics out of stapled typing paper, and it just kind of went from there. So I don't know any better. I've been doing this 40 plus years, and I've been publishing over a decade. So, and then when my mom passed away, she kind of made me promise that I was going to see this thing through.
Nice.
Because when my brother's spouse passed away, he gave up. Him and I used to publish together, and he was one of those guys that really inspired me and still does. My baby brother, but he got out. His muse passed, and he decided to go into video game production, and he gave up publishing comics. So my mom saw that. She's like, don't do that, keep going, see it through. And I'm like, okay, I'll see it through. So yeah, I don't know any better.
All right, cool. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, for me, it's the love of comics. I started at 13, and when I first found my first comic book, I was like, where you been my whole life? Like, I was always into, comic book related cartoons and any shows that I had that were available when I was younger. But yeah, when I first the first one that hooked me in was like, Spider-Man Torment #1, Todd McFarlane one. And the reason I'm doing this, because I just love it. So I just want to do it. I've always been in the creative industry, but this is my first time doing a comic book. So you start off like, why are you still doing this? Well, I just started. So so I'm not still doing it. I just got started. I haven't even put out a comic book yet. Like the Kickstarter that's up is my first comic book. And I'm loving it. I just want to create. I want to be able to put out a story out there, and doesn't have to make me rich. It'd be nice if it would. I'm sure we could all agree. but it'd be nice to just get the story out there.
Right.
Not me, man. I'm in it purely for the love. You can keep all the money.
But you need the money to continue.
Yep.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Like, I want the money so I can continue doing this, right?
Yeah, Marcus, I will send you my PayPal account. Don't worry about it. You just funnel all the cash. Don't worry about it. We're all good. Anthony, what are your thoughts?
Well, I got into comic books as far as like making them very recently, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I loved comics when I was a kid. I used to go to the comic book store and hide in the back and read everything I could before I got kicked out. But I never really, did a lot of stuff with comic books until recently. in 2020, I got diagnosed with a degenerative heart condition, which is slowly taking me out. But at the same time, I was like laid up in bed when I first got diagnosed. I was laid up in bed for like 3 months straight, and I started drawing just to kind of keep myself sane. And the more I drew, the better I got. And people saw it, and they were like, "Hey, man, that little rabbit character you got there looks really cool. You should make a comic book with him." And I was like, "Hey, that's not a bad idea." So I started jumping through every hoop I could, learning everything I could, and I ended up making Bad Wabbit comics. And now I just can't stop. I've got all these different other comics in on the way. And I'm working on this one. But I love comics, man. I've been learning a lot from the indie community. They're a really, really awesome group of people. They're not like gatekeepers. They want to see you succeed. And I think indie comics are great. They teach you what you need to do. And I go and do it. And I've met so many damned awesome creators. It's unbelievable. There's so many talented people out here.
Oh, that's really cool, man. Unfortunately, I'm introducing you to Jay, but Marcus, what are your thoughts?
I've said this many times before as I've been on here, but ever since I picked up my first comic book, I was hooked. Especially after I really tried drawing for the first time and saw that I had some skill and some talent there, then is all I want to do for the rest of my life. And it's just been like a Batman-esque journey, learning all the skills to get me there to where I could do it. I'm still pretty greenhorn despite my frenetic pace at getting comics out and publishing and everything. We're coming up on our 3rd year at Odyssey in May, so we're going to be celebrating our anniversary there pretty soon. And it's just, I just found out that I'm a psychopath when it comes to making comics. It is one of the most addictive things that I've ever come across. And I keep thinking that feeling is going to start numbing a little bit when I get that new comic in the mail and I open them up for the first time and I'm flipping through them and it just never stops. So until that starts to die, I'm probably going to keep at it. But we also got an important mission that we're trying to do over on the Odyssey side. We're a publisher specially tailored to getting new and emerging talents out there and trying to be a platform for people to not just go to self-publishing route and also not get dicked over by a publisher, have that assistance on the publishing end that's going to do right by you. And at the same time, you get the creative freedom to do the projects as you see. You get to participate in an ecosystem that's going to give you good quality feedback. I'm going to push people to make the best possible stories and the best possible comics that we can make. We'll do everything resource-wise we can to get it done, and it's something that I hope that will continue to not just progress with what we're doing, and we are doing some new and interesting stuff, but we'll also start, even in little ways, in little pockets, start changing things in the industry to be more friendly towards creators too. That's the grand scheme of things, and I say that my hope in comics is that there is a time where an Odyssey Comics doesn't need to exist anymore. I'll still make comics and I'll still publish and do everything like that. But as far as, the service that we provide and the place in the market where we are putting ourselves into, that won't need to be done because people are getting value. People are, getting their work out there easier. People are facing less roadblocks when it comes to comics. And I think that's the ultimate goal, is for me to try to be a net positive and make it a little bit richer place than it was when I came into it.
All right, cool.
Sure.
Mr. J, what are your thoughts?
You're muted.
No, this is the best he's ever sounded. This is the best he's ever sounded. Why'd you say anything?
Perfect quote.
You know what? I don't have enough stress in my life, so that's what keeps me in. I need to just pile more and more shit on it. If I'm not bugging out on a daily fucking basis, then I'm not doing something right. I mean, Making comic books are hard. Selling comic books are hard. Remaining in the mix is hard. But it's the only thing I figure out how to do successfully, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm successfully keeping together my marriage. I'm successfully staying healthy. I'm successfully keeping employed while making comic books. But I've learned how to do something. I have a skill, right? I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a plumber. I'm not an electrician. I'm not
make comics.
I make comics. I make comics. I'll never be on Jeopardy. I'll never be a question on Jeopardy. But I do this and I get smiles on people's faces. Money, all the dollars.
all the dollars. All tens and tens of them.
All them dollars.
All the dozens of dollars, yes.
I get to meet new people. I get to share information. I get to apply my craft with others and exchange that with others and try to figure out how to do something new or see something from a new perspective. I'm not getting that creatively anywhere else but from comic books. So that's why I'm in here. That's what's keeping me in here. Excuse me.
All right, cool. For myself, I've said it before, and it pisses a lot of people off. It's my very expensive hobby. It's the one. I truly, truly enjoy it. Like it's like I did it professionally for a while in the 90s. I started self-publishing in 92. And it's the one thing, it keeps me grounded. I love writing. I love creating. I've been doing it since I was like a kid, and I've been chasing the rabbit ever since. And it's what I enjoy doing, right? I remember, I don't know how old I was, 13, 14 years old. I was getting the comic buyer's guide in the mail. And I remember seeing this picture of these, and there was an article in the comic buyer's guide, the CBG. And it was talking about these guys from Boston, how they put out their comic book, their black and white comic book. And I saw that picture of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 2 for the first time. Yeah. And I was just like, I can do that. And I've been chasing those dudes ever since. Sons of bitches. So yeah. So that's why I do it. I do it because it's like, everybody here pretty much, I'm sure, goes to work, right? And you do your day job and whatever it is you do. And then you come home, and for me, this is there's only two reliefs. There's Daphne, my wife, and there's comics. And I'm very lucky that she's my partner in this crime spree. So I
got nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to go.
Yes. The producer is in effect today.
Thank God.
Emotional damage.
You made me so happy. Thank you, Dee. Thank you.
Yes. All right, Jay, your turn.
Okay, on your personal journey, how do you define leveling up? Right, where do you check the box and say, okay, I've successfully learned how to do X. Now I'm moving on to Y, right? So how do you define leveling up?
I'm constantly asking why.
No, I know for me it was fairly easy because my level started at 0.
Uh-huh.
So like I didn't know how to do anything when it came to comic books. So like I wrote a script. So I figured that's got to get done regardless. So I just wrote that down. And even from there, after I wrote it down, I was like, well, how do you format this so somebody else can follow this? So I had to learn how to format a script. And it's like, where the hell do you find an artist? Trying to look for YouTube videos. I'm like, how do I get an artist? I didn't find the answers I seek on YouTube as a writer. Seemed like there was more answers if you were an artist trying to get into comics than if you were a writer trying to get into comics.
Yeah.
So everything I felt like I learned from scratch, and I asked as many questions as I could to whoever knew anything about anything. I learned how to design my own Kickstarter page from scratch. I've never did that before either. So for me, every step of this is leveling up because like next thing is I got to figure out how to deal with the pledge manager stuff after this is done. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll find out.
Don't worry about it. It's easy. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I didn't know anything when I started off doing this. I didn't even have a script. I was literally just drawing pages, freestyling off the top of my head. And my favorite author actually stepped in. I was a fan of his for years before I'd even started doing this. His name is Chris Philbrook. And he saw what I was doing. He was like, "Do you have a script?" I was like, "No." And he was like, "You might want to write one of those." And so I went and wrote one. And I had never written a script before, so I handed it to him. Well, I had said, I need an editor, and he was like, "Well, I write." And I was like, "Yeah, but you're famous and stuff, and you probably don't want to deal with me. I'm a nobody." And he's like, "Send me the damn script." So I sent him the script, and I'm sitting there for 3 days thinking, "Oh man, he's gonna say it sucks. You got to rewrite this. You got to rewrite that." And he actually hit me back up. He said, "Man, this is fantastic." He was like, "We can totally do something with this." And that's when I was like, level up, and to have your favorite author tell you he likes your stuff is really surreal. And I just have been on that road going full speed ever since. He's been my Gandalf, my Obi-Wan. And the day that I held Bad Wabbit #1 in my hands, was one of the best days of my life. It was comparable to getting my first son, so it was awesome.
Did you just throw him over your shoulder? What happened there?
Yeah, where's the comic book?
Get off my comic.
I've heard that a few times from a few people. Say, "Oh yeah, as I had a kid, I had a comic." Pretty much the same thing. Thanks.
What?
So Carlos, what are your thoughts?
So for the first two things, so leveling up, the first thing that comes to mind is when I walked into that comic shop, that random comic shop, and bought my book off the rack, and walked over, plopped it down. They rung it up, and then I turned to the manager and I said, "This is mine." And he's like, "What?" "Yeah, I'm behind this." So that was the personal level up. That was when I finally internally said I kept a promise to that 15-year-old, that 14-year-old kid that dreamt about that and would read previews and daydream. I'm going to be there one day. Done. Checked off. That leveled up. The other one is that with the new Remarkables, we hit 6,000. To me, for the crowdfunding now, my goal is to level up, is to hit 10,000. So when I hit that number, then I'm going to have I can check that off and say, okay, I met that. Now we'll figure out what's next. Getting into bookstores, as I'm working on Pandora's Armies, my first all ages coming up. It's my first graphic novel. It's my first non-superhero thing. So I'm excited about it. I'm nervous about it, but yeah, that's my next level up is okay. I want to go places that I didn't even think I could get. So that's where I am focused on. I'm hiring a consultant this time. The person's had a lot of good success, and no, not the ones that come to you as soon as you pose and say, "Hey,
what? You don't trust them?"
Yeah, that are named Debbie Sarah, and have a pucker, what is it, a duck face picture there. No, this is an actual consultant that's had some really good success on all the different platforms, and they're an acquaintance of mine. I wouldn't say friend. We've supported each other's campaigns in the past, and had discussions. But
Carlos, Carlos, I would not pay Jay a dime for this type of advice. I'm just.
I get you. Don't worry about it.
Jay's gonna get me over the 2,000.
Here we
He
go.
is, he is.
1,000.
He is. He's trying to get himself over there too.
Damn right. Damn right.
But no, that's I'm shooting for the sky, and let's see where it land.
All right, cool, fair enough. Chris, what are your thoughts? You're muted.
It's not just me. It's not just me. Thank you, Chris,
Sorry,
for
I'm trying
making
to
me
get-
feel welcome.
Am I echoing now?
Yeah,
A little bit.
All right. Can you come back to me and fix my audio again? Sorry. Thought I fixed
Okay,
it.
no, go ahead. Marcus.
Yeah, to me, I feel like leveling up, especially when you're in the publisher game, is about two things. It's always keeping an eye and a finger on the pulse of what's going on in comics, because trends are changing, tastes are changing all the time. Of making sure that you're staying current in the marketplace is a really important thing. And then two is not only competition, but also camaraderie when you're among your peers in the game. And I know people they don't always like to hear the word competition when we talk about indie comics, because we like to think that we're this big monolithic block of people getting along and doing everything together. So not everybody likes to think of it as a competitive space, but there's nothing wrong with competition. Iron sharpens iron. People doing good stuff leads to people making more good stuff. I think indie comics is at the state it is in right now because such a wellspring of talent and everything from art to the design of books and how everything's put together, how people run their Kickstarters. Everyone's just trying to leapfrog, the other person, or at least try to get a little bit of that joie de vivre that they have and incorporate themselves. So I was talking with a lot of other creators. We see what each other's doing. We all have a very competitive mindset of, hey, I want my book to look best. Not talking down on anybody else, but I want mine to be awesome. I want my campaign to look awesome. I want our writing to be the best. I look at what other publishers are doing. I look at everyone from Space Between to Invader and Red 5 and all these other people that are sort of on a similar path that I see us going to as well. And then just knowing the process, and you spend time when you're new at this, you're just trying to learn and progress, and with a little bit more time, you start understanding the things that you do well. Now I'm understanding more what I do well in the comic book space, and that is very much so on the editorial and production side and the collaboration side. I can get the cats all herded and together and then making something beautiful, and I can do it pretty damn well and pretty consistently. And that's what I'm starting to discover is kind of it's not an easy thing in comics. So I need to really hang my hat on being able to do that and being able to do it across so many different projects and genres and things. So for me, leveling up is when I look at, the slate of things that we're releasing and that we're doing in 2024 and beyond. And I think, some people have seen this and mentioned this already. We feel like we're taking a step beyond the things that we were doing before. Our projects are starting to look a little bit different. They feel a little bit different, but just for us internally, I've been really driving getting the collaborative aspect together more, being a little bit more freewheeling at times, but also understanding more what a project needs to be and what the team needs to accomplish to deliver on the premise and the concept of what the book is. So for me, the biggest leveling up is what I do internally. And how I view comics and how I view our process and the skills that I know how to do. If I'm taking care of that, everything else sort of falls into place. And more than anything, it's really reaching out to other creators too. When you're a publisher, you're only as good as the talent that you're working with. And we've been fortunate enough to really just have a lot of incredible people that we're bringing into the fold this year that's doing some amazing work. And so much credit goes to them and working hard. And even when I'm cracking the whip and being a little bit of an asshole, listening to me and taking the things that we do to heart. And so far, it's just like, if if I set a challenge out to them, they rise to the occasion and they achieve it. So really, it's it's really having that mindset internally of how you want to improve, how you want to approach the game, and then making the connections with the people that's going to get you there. That's what we're doing.
All right, cool. Marcus, tough taskmaster.
There you go. Back in the whip.
Seriously.
Well, I hate to say that because a lot of my creators tell you so. I'm probably like the easiest editor in the world to work with. I'm pretty forgiving, but like when I find that thing that I can't budge on, it's not like you got to do it. Like I don't hand down mandates often at all whatsoever, but when I do and I say it's go time, it's go time. Get your shit together. Let's go.
Yeah. Mark is like, I don't like to have to say that, but I say it all the time. God damn it, do what I say. Chris, what are your thoughts?
All right. So thanks so much for the patience. Sorry, fix my audio. All right. Yeah. So my thoughts. One, like much like what people have said, like holding that first comic that you got printed, like felt like the first level up, and that was just like one of the most delightful feelings ever. And then as you build on that and just keep releasing them consistently, then it's that next threshold, which for me was breaking 5K. Now the next goal is breaking 10K on a project. And one of my big things that I'm looking to do this year is expand into being more of a publisher and not just a publisher of a single property. So now that I have Mandrill PI under my belt and have finished that first arc and I'm into the second one and finishing off the novels with this last book, expanding into other properties and other genres and continuing to build up both my comics and prose business, as well as turning it into something that much like what Marcus is talking about, being able to like mentor and guide people who are coming into the industry who need some advice, because that'd be the other thing that make me feel like I've truly leveled up, is when I'm people that people regularly go to for help or advice, because I'm always happy to share. So yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Nice. I don't know. For myself, I mean, my level up thing is completion, right? Like I'm always about completing projects, about finishing projects, especially something like, Tall Tales of Oswald, where these are long projects. Like, I mean, the Oswald Chronicles, like I said, I'm probably 1,800 pages into it. I'm another 1,600 pages to go. So for me, that's my goal. You understand? I don't concern myself too much with anything else, just finishing. You understand? I mean, my level up is getting into an omnibus. That's my level up. I want to get into nice hardcover, giant size omnibus. Now, if I can sell 1 million of them, that's a huge plus. But, that's pretty much where I'm at with that, So that's pretty much how I see that. So there you go, Jay. Answer your own question.
I got nothing. I'm trying to figure out from everybody else. Like you, my leveling up is, all right, have I completed this? But I feel I'm in a holding pattern. You know what I mean? I feel more like all my launches are still at the same level. They're still at the same rate. And, I'm trying to find those answers on how to level up. That's all.
Okay.
Hey, sometimes you also have to think about it in the perspective of a lot in our space. Sometimes being consistent is just as good as leveling up. And it can be frustrating from a standpoint to come in and still be in that same target that you've been doing. But as I look through things, and you guys know what a whore I am for analytics and things like that when it comes to the comic book side, it's so depressing and disheartening. Like see where I think maybe social media, things across Twitter, Facebook, wherever we're posting on our socials. You do a Kickstarter campaign, used to be 20-25% of what we were pulling in, and to see that start to diminish as algorithms are more destructive and kick us in the teeth harder and harder all the time. So the fact that in some of these cases, it's like, yeah, we've been sort of hanging around the same areas in terms of that too. And I was feeling that same frustration, but I was also, okay, we lost all of that essentially. Getting maybe 10% from social media, if that on the campaign.
Right.
So if we are not sliding back in terms of what we're doing, despite losing a quarter of what your share was in the crowdfunding space, that's kind of a big deal, because that means that you're organically bringing more people in to keep that same level of performance that you were doing. And then God, on my day job too, seeing how flat that just businesses across the board are. On top of
let me throw you my numbers of where my frustration is. All right, you're talking numbers. I'm sorry, some people check out at numbers, so I apologize. But all right, so in my lifetime of funding, I've had 812 people back the entirety of my campaigns. 812 different people. Not everyone likes the same books that I put out all the time, right? I have a variety. I have a diversified catalog. But of that, right now on this campaign, I have less than 5% returning backers. On my last campaign, I only had 39 new backers. So those that do come back lovingly, loyally, but finding the new ones and trying to get some of the old ones, like, we're talking, I said 12 people lifetime. We had a pandemic in between them, right? It's been over 10 years. How many people are unalive that I didn't know about, but they're still in my numbers. Yet those numbers stick in me, and I'm like, oh, how can I can't get this person? I don't even know if they're still breathing or not. So I tried different tactics to get people to come back, and some of them do work, some of them don't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the things I've been thinking about is, like, I know for myself, and I'm pretty sure Jay, I don't know about Mark's, pretty much Facebook babies, right? We're always on Facebook, sometimes on Twitter, but not really, because it's kind of like a cesspool. But the other places out there, I mean, Reddit, right? Like, I don't know if anybody's ever used Reddit. I heard a lot of people using TikTok, just these different platforms, and it's like, damn it, I gotta start on another one,
Right.
And and I know it's
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's like, damn it, I gotta start another one.
I always say in comics, especially in the crowdfunding space, everybody thinks of it as sort of this like single input thing, and it's really not. What it is a switchboard. You get a bunch of different levers that you can flip to make different results, and you can never guarantee what lever is going to do what when you push it, or what sequence that you need to do it. That's going to change all the time. You're never going to get it down. But the more levers you can give yourself, and the more keys on your switchboard you can flip, the better off you're going to be, and the more things you're going to have in your tool belt.
But how many people use BackerKit?
I do.
Right? Do you see the message board on BackerKit? Right? They got their own panel. They got their own social. Right? Are people following that?
But I don't think that's really as effective as something like that.
I don't know. But is anything? I mean, social is so segmented. If you focus on social on a daily basis with all the different platforms, you're spending 2 to 3 hours, campaigning, marketing, promoting, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the night, how much of that is getting in the way of producing new content? Right? Again, it's one of those reasons why I tell people, make sure you have your book finished before you start a campaign, because once you got a campaign running, you can't focus on anything but promoting that campaign, right? The plane is in the air. You got to focus on that one at that moment.
Yeah.
You can't keep your eyes off of that onto anything else. But again, where are the eyeballs coming from, right? Where are you going to get the most views?
Well, where are we getting the new views, the new eyeballs, right? That's the stuff. That's the stuff. But that's why we're here talking about this stuff, right?
Right. And that's great. But it's like, all right, I know I've used Facebook ads quite a bit, and that has changed since I started using it. There was one point you were able to use keywords, and that was great. You can't do that anymore. Right. And unless you're focusing on how you're utilizing Facebook ads, you're going to end up in the 65 and older flea market crowd, on the Facebook marketplace. And they're buying comic books. right? I can get 756. I can show you those numbers. I'm not making that up. I can get 756. Jesus Christ, I should be drinking. 756 views on a post, right? With 10% click through, but it's all right. The numbers of those people are the ones that are not buying comic books.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll look at it, and that's great. Thank you for that. But it's not converting because these are the folks that are not buying comics. So where can I spend the money on those that are?
Yeah.
Right.
At our
But I
level,
mean-
is it even worth spending any money? Like I'm thinking, like I've done that same thing where we're just trying because I figure as a first time goer, I'm gonna go and just see what happens. I'm pushing all the levers, I'm flipping all the levers, seeing what happens.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like that money that I spent on ads. It's a learning experience. That's money that I could have just. That's I look at it as that's money I lost on my campaign because it didn't bring in as much as I put out. Right.
But then again, you don't know. Right? You don't know because unless you're using a targeted link, are they utilizing that link? Right? Unless you're paying like for a live stream read or for a live stream post, unless they're using that link that you specifically sent them, how do you know that the sale did not come from that link which you paid for through that live stream read? You know, I listen to everything, not just comic book stuff, and I listened to a podcast recently that had the chief marketing officer from American Eagle talking about this stuff. And he said currently it takes 35 touches to convert a sale. And his definition of touches was all of it, right? It's not just one social media post. It's the commercial. It's the influencer, right? It's anything that can get their potential customer to view the products. And if he's spending money to get one person to see their product 35 times before they convert in a sale, that's a lot of fucking money to put up that I know I can't compete with. To get a $10 sale, it's bananas.
Tits.
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 It's not always work, bro. I tried the tits.
Tits. I'm looking at all because I'll go and I'll look at like when I go through because all of you guys stress my wallet like nobody's business. You do.
Carlos, hold on, but we're gonna try to do right by your wallet. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
So, there you go.
Oh.
All right. So there you go. Pandora's Army. Talk to us. What do we got here? This is your
All right. So it's my first graphic novel. It's Anna Marie Delgado. She's a awkward, shy teenager at Gates High School, and she has to put up with the mean girls, the Dragon Ladies, and they have their own little face tube show, and they're influencers, and they like to mess with her and tease her. And one day she finds a bandana on the ground. She picks it up. She reads it. It's Danny Moyes. He's the quarterback. He's her crush, and it's his bandana. And so she keeps it, takes it, starts daydreaming, and then the Dragon Ladies see that she's got it, and things go to things, and she darts for the woods, and in the woods she trips over a pipe which leads to a well, and she is looking down the well. The Dragon Ladies catch up to her, and she accidentally falls into the well. She comes out the other side, and she is in Arcadia, and a wild, fantastical world that has all sorts of crazy and amazing creatures. And so, and then they think that she is the Pandora. So basically, this world is the main denizens of this world are made of wood. the forest people, and metal, the Metites, the Gaians and the Metites, and they are on the brink of war. And the Gaians basically deem her the Pandora, which means that she is going to lead them to victory over the Metite kingdom. And so basically, she is straddling whether she is wanting to even get involved in this whole thing. But she's become friends with a lot of the Gaians, and then she eventually meets Prince Dario, who is the prince of the Metites, and she falls for him, and vice versa. And so it goes from being kind of a Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland type of vibe, fantastical vibe, to almost like a Romeo and Juliet thing. And they again, they run into Von Dur, who is a frost wizard. He's not a nice guy, and he's behind basically pushing this entire community to go to war with each other, because he has a secret, and if they go to war and if it goes the way he plans, then it will release him from a curse that he has. So it's again, it's my first all ages book. It's my first non-superhero. It was created as divorce therapy. So back in the day, before my current wife, I had a wife before, and we got divorced. She left me, and in the meantime, I needed to find a way to kind of creatively vent. And so my daughter and my mom said, "Hey, let's go to Barnes and Noble." And I'm like, "Okay, let's." And then all of a sudden, it started to come to me before we ever even got in. It was like one of those weird things. And I've been working on it ever since. This was back in 2010, April of 2010. And I've had a few close calls putting it together, but I could never find the right artist, the right anything. And then my mom passed away, as many of you know. And then right after that, 1 month after her funeral, Gil came into my DM, and he was looking for work. And at first I had him doing some other stuff to do test pages. And then when he turned them in, I looked at it and it was like, man, this is cartoony. Cartoony? Ding, ding, ding. And I was like, dude, can you do this? Can you test on this particular IP? And he's like, sure. And then he did it. When he turned the page in, I shit you not, I cried for reals, because I had been on this, finding so many close calls and not quite having it work out, that when he finally turned in that first page, and then I passed it along to my daughters, who have been following me and this particular story the whole time. And they were like, Dad, you did it. You found him. And I was like, I know, I did. And then, yeah, from then on, it's been probably the most enjoyable project that I've ever worked on. And working with the team has been great. Gil doesn't have a whole lot as far as a resume. Joaquin has worked on a few things for like Dynamite. And then Todd, our letterer, he was actually the letterer for the latest Shadowhawk, the last Shadowhawk book for Image. But all of them are incredible pros. They turn in everything on time.
So, Carlos, Carlos, so I got two questions for you. One, how many pages? It's a graphic novel, so how many pages are we looking at?
It's 52.
Nice, nice. And then two, when are you looking to launch?
We're looking to launch May 1st, but because we have that, as I had spoken to you earlier. We still have that straggler. She is Black Dahlia. I do not want to launch before that one's been taken care of. So we're down to the end, the last few pages, and then it will be putting the coda on that. But right now we're shooting for May 1st, but it may end up being the middle of May. But in May sometime we will launch.
All right, cool, man. It looks fantastic, bro. I mean, yeah.
And can you do me a quick favor?
Go for it.
Can you go in the private chat and go into my page link, my personal page link?
Okay.
And then give me 1 sec here, because it'll be the very first thing. I just got to change the audience because I didn't want to really have it. And then if you want to go to the first thing that says Pandora's Army Kickstarter, you'll see covers and pages.
The art's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's Dusty. He's the crazy train. He plays a large part in the story. As far as so basically the war, because I had mentioned they were at war. The reason they are is because the queen of the Gaians, Amina, she disappears. And she disappeared while riding Dusty, going to have kind of like a powwow with the Metites. And basically Dusty, he tells everybody that she was kidnapped by the Metites, that he had seen it with his own eyes, that she was taken by them. So I'm not going to get into, because obviously that's a major plot point, but yeah, because of that, and they believe him, they're at the brink of war.
All right, cool. All right, nice. So, Miss Producer, if we can pull up the next one. She's coming.
All right.
Chris, what do we have here? Talk to us.
All right, we got Mandrill PI Volume 3. It's the last and final Mandrill PI novel, and the storyline here involves aliens invading and replacing the citizens of Toonsville so fast that the world's nearly conquered before Mandrill PI realizes there's even a problem. This is a really big passion project for me because, like, I've been building up to this storyline across. I've been sowing seeds for the storyline across the last few books, and so now it's paying off big time here with this huge alien invasion arc. And I'd say people that are fans of movies like They Live or movies like The Thing or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, this is a similar type of property here, where you have the alien invasion with the shape-shifting aliens and tons of action and humor. And I've even brought Carlos Trigo, our comic artist, in to do character designs. And then what you see right there is the print that he's made for this book. I bring him in to do a print for every single one of the novels. And so that's super exciting there. And then additionally, I'm doing the print in metal as well, so people can get their hands on super limited edition of the print. And ultimately, like I said, this project overall has been just such a labor of love for me. It's kind of like my love letter to 80s and 90s cartoons and hard-boiled detective fiction. And I'm just finished the 6th comic in December, and now this is the final novel. So those 2 storylines are wrapping up with this, and then I'll be back soon with like the collected edition of the comic, and then the comic will continue into further storylines that don't overlap with the novels. Nice. So as we get down lower and lower, you'll see some more unique things, like there's an option for a custom canon Mandrill PI short story that I'll write and then get professionally edited and a professional cover made. or you can get the entire novel dedicated to you. That's the big one there. And then if the video is working, then I've got like a trailer for the comic as well, if we want to watch that from that up top.
I'm Christopher Brimmage, author of the Multiverse Askew trilogy, a humorous series of sci-fi adventure novels. And I'm here to speak with you about my project, Mandrill PI. Ultimately, it's a love letter to two of my favorite things, hard-boiled detective fiction and 80s and 90s cartoons. And this latest book concludes the story of our primate hero.
If you want to stop it there, JD, we can stop it there. I just go through all the stuff we already kind of flipped through.
Aliens have invaded.
Okay.
Yeah, so much like Carlos, this entire property was a big passion project for me. So my parents died in the 2010s, and I went through a lot of I went through a lot of really deep grief where I wasn't able to write, and I fell into some addictive behavior, more with phones than alcohol, like Mandrill PI does. But basically, what Mandrill PI's arc is he starts out in the first book like just so far into the bottle that he's lost a lot of friends and a lot of loved ones, and over the course of the novels, he kind of learns to rely on his friends and pull himself out of that dark hole that he's fallen into. And this final novel is the big payoff of that. And so it's just been a fun ride, because it's a cartoon world, but it's a prose novel. So marrying those two worlds has been just a huge challenge, while also being something where I was able to explore just the chaos of a cartoon world with some kind of real, like, hard-boiled detective problems. So pretty fun.
All right, sounds good. So just out of curiosity, like, how many words per novel, roughly?
About 99,000 for this one.
Oh, okay.
And then I think it was a little over 100 for the one before this, and then around 99 for the one before that.
That's it? No, JD.
So is it a prose novel, or is it a prose novel with lithos in it?
Yeah. Prose novel. And then I've got a comic series that I also do alongside of it. So the first 6-issue arc of the comics was an adaptation of volume 0 of the prose novels. So it's sort of like a prequel of the prose novels. And then my next comic arc is a completely new story that won't overlap with any of the things that go on in the novel.
Because I see that Carlos Trigo, I've always liked his artwork. Actually, I talked to him once about doing some work with the Night Demon, but he was busy with a project that might have even been yours, because if I remember correctly, it was the reason I was drawn to him, besides the Mignola style, which he's just amazing at, was the fact that that style that he has for Mandrill is just really good art. It's really cool.
All right.
He's awesome. He's been just a joy to work with, and I can't recommend him highly enough. If anybody needs variant covers or an artist for a project that's not so long, it'll take him away from mine.
Very nice, very nice. Yes. And just remember, they're just borrowing them. They're not keeping them. Right. So
That's
Mark.
me. Yeah.
Yes. What do we got here, sir? What do we got here?
We got So-Called Living, and so So-Called Living is my very first comic book. The story takes place in a world where anything and everything exists. So like werewolves, vampires, zombies, etc. And us normies, we all kind of like live together. It's not like, vampires living in the shadows, or like it's like something people talk about but don't really know about. No, it's, you could go to work and spend your day with a werewolf, and they're a werewolf, and or whatever. They're just part of our society. So because our society was evolved with these creatures kind of always in it, they were never really in hiding. The way we react to them is different. It's not to say that everybody still follows the same rules, full moon, silver bullets, needs blood for vampires, zombies are shambling messes, but the way we react to them is different. And you see that in the very first page of the comic book, which I actually give the first 5 pages on the Kickstarter page, and below that there's a link so you could read the entire first issue for free on Global Comics.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
So, which is right there. There's a link. Read book 1 free now. So, the story is about Jack, who, if you see those 3 characters, wherever you are, the guy you see the most of on this page. So that's Jack, and he starts off as a human, gets turned into a vampire, and he's got to learn to adapt to this new way of living. So, and the first issue he deals with, and I'm spoiling some things, but you can read this for free, and it's about the journey. So even though I'm telling you what's going to happen, it's a good read to get there. And so the first issue he deals with, other than he's dead now, is he can't get into his apartment. So he deals with like some what seems like mundane things, but for him, seriously, he's like, I'm a vampire now. I can't get into my apartment. What do I do? He's like, my life isn't that great to begin with. And so it starts off, he's homeless. He's a homeless vampire.
Is it because he hasn't invited himself in?
Yeah, well, nobody's there to invite him in. He lives in like a building complex. It's not like a no vampire clause. So he has to be, he's not invited into the complex, into the home. So he can't invite himself into his own apartment. So because he can't get in. So he's stuck. So he's a homeless vampire. And you'll see there's like pamphlets of like, and just so you know, like the comic book in general is a dark comedy. So it deals with some dark situations, but in a funny way. The first issue is pretty lighthearted, I guess the first 2, but the story as it goes, because the Kickstarter is for issues 1 and 2, and then this is funded, so I'll be able to do issues 2 and 3. So the idea is to fund one to keep doing the others, and the plan is to do 4 Kickstarters to get 8 books out to complete the story. And the story, like Jack's, he's a bit of a goofball, but he gets in over his head and gets involved in some really tense situations. So it's got, the characters are great. It's kind of like Friends meets Cabin in the Woods. It's like an ensemble cast. We've got some Sopranos tension in there when it comes to some of the bad guys. They're not very nice people. And so that's the gist. I don't know if you want to play the video. We got a cool video on this one. It's fairly short. It's like 2 minutes or something like that. But yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mark Maia, and I fucking love comic books.
No swearing.
Oh, right, my bad. I'm just so excited. This is my first comic book.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell me. Tell him.
Oh, right. Sorry. My name is Mark Maia, writer of So-Called Living, and this is my first comic book.
Great. Now can you do the rest of the video without sounding like a complete
So-Called Living is a dark comedy that takes place in a reality where vampires, werewolves, zombies, and us normies coexist in a world much like our own. Well, except for all the vampires, werewolves, and zombies, that is. Our story focuses on a guy named Jack, whose life is turned upside down when he finds himself unwillingly transformed into a vampire. With the help of his friends, he tries his best to adapt to this new way of living. Unfortunately for Jack, he's gotten himself mixed up with the wrong kind of people, and living, such as it is about to get difficult. Like many longtime comic book fans, I've always wanted to tell my own story, create something that would entertain the community that I love, but I didn't want to do it until I was sure I could do it right. And now, with the incredible artistic talent of Marco Leona, we're ready to bring Jack's story to life. So-Called Living takes place over 8 issues, but we need to fund the first 2 before we can make any more, and that's where you come in. And to sweeten the pot, we've included variant covers from guest artists, such as the crazy talented Derek Loffman and Toronto's own Ashton Techno Prasad. These guys are out there killing it, so we are honored to have them on board. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit spicier to add to your comic book collection, our obligatory Sexpot editions have got you covered. You can also grab one of our exclusive So-Called Living keychains. By doing so, you're not just getting a cool piece of merch, you're becoming part of the Blood Bunny Colony, which grants you access to exclusive offers on all future So-Called Living campaigns. For me, this is more than just a comic book. It's a community, a shared experience, and with your help, we can make So-Called Living a reality.
And that's it.
Cool, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, that's
Fantastic.
oh, thank you.
So what kind of schedule are you looking for as far as releases? Like you're doing obviously the first 2 now. When do you expect the next 2?
Well, the scripts are written. I've started talking to Marco about working on the next 2 already. So we'll probably get the next 2 out this year, actually, because he's all gung ho to do this, and when he gets going, he's quick. Like I love the artwork he did for book 1, but he's gotten better now that he's used to the characters. So he knocked out book 2 a lot faster and a lot better. Like so. Nice. The art on the characters got better, and I've seen just his roughs for book 3 because even though he started without me, I told him like I didn't tell him to start, but he got excited, so he kind of did some roughs, and he knows the deal. He's like, I need to get these funded so I can pay him to do the next ones. But he got excited, did some roughs, and even the roughs are great. They're so much better than before. So like I'm confident that he's just going to continue getting better as he gets familiar with these characters and drawing them. So
all right, cool. I mean, look, the book looks awesome. I mean,
the art's so fantastic. That guy's incredible artist.
Yeah, he's fantastic, and I'm lucky I found him because when I did So-Called Living, I was looking for a very specific type of artist, and I had a kind of, how do you pronounce the first name, Humberto Ramos, so like a Ramos type of style of art, because so I liked him and I thought he'd be a perfect fit, and also kind of like a Chew vibe to the art. So I thought either of those 2 would fit, and then I found Marco, and Marco's style was close, so we tweaked it just a little bit, and then we got what we have here. Because it's pretty close to his natural style. It's just we had to age it up a little bit because a lot of his stuff looks very cutie and kitty. But he aged it up just a bit, but he did awesome, and now he's getting used to it, so he's knocking it out. And when I put the call out for artists at first, when I was looking for artists, because I didn't know where the hell to look, this is part of the leveling up thing. I went to Twitter, and everybody I got back was all it was all the same art style. It was like, or at least 98% of it was all teenage romance manga animation. Like that's what I got. It was all anime, which is not bad. Like I like manga, but that art style does not fit So-Called Living story. And I'm very strong supporter of like there's the story, the art and the story kind of go hand in hand. And if you can get that marriage to work out, then you got yourself like a winning combination. So that's what I was trying to do, is make that winning combination. So I was trying to hunt down Marco, and I found him. So
Cool.
I did send a
Very-
message to the artist of Chew. I got no response, but I thought, hey, what the hell? maybe I can get a cover.
Yeah, no
know?
one's taking that shot.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
what the hell? Why not?
It never hurts to ask, and the worst they can say is no.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually-
or they could say $10,000, and then that's just another no. Right?
I actually sent I also actually sent the link to the first book to Brian Michael Bendis, and surprisingly he replied, not with a review. He hadn't read it yet, but he replied quickly. He was like, yeah, cool, I'll check this out. And I was like, I don't want to push it. Because he never said anything again. So but I thought it was cool. I read it because I love his stuff. So
Cool. Sounds good. All right, so all right, we're waiting, and there we go.
Here we go.
Castro, Anthony, what are we looking at here, sir? Anthony, you're muted.
Jeez.
Damn it. See, look, it's a common occurrence around here.
Yeah, it's not just me.
Yes,
I'm feeling good. You guys are making me feel good tonight.
that's why I'm afraid to turn my mic off.
So, Bad Wabbit is something I came up with when I was, recovering from my heart condition and trying to get back on my feet. It's about a dystopian, post-apocalyptic world. It's really far in the future. The world's been polluted and nuclear wars, pollution, all this stuff by the humans, to the point where animals have evolved into these anthropomorphic creatures. They kind of became more dominant on the planet as humans became less, dominant. But it's about, he's a drunk. He doesn't want anything to do with the world. He has a really traumatic past, which I go into with flashbacks throughout the series. But he's basically just pulled his trailer out into the middle of the desert across the street from a bar, and he works as a bouncer for drinks. And then one day he gets kind of forced by Foxy Fox, who is a airship pirate captain. She stops in with her crew to get some drinks, and they get in a tussle, and they kind of Shanghai Wabbit and force him on this adventure that he really doesn't want to go on. But unbeknownst to him, the adventure is actually going to change him as a rabbit, and it's going to change his planet. Also, he doesn't realize it yet. I've got about 19 issues planned out. It is an ongoing story. It's drawn by a guy named Tommy Guns. His real name is Lian Senchi. He's from China, but his primary job is animation. He does anime. And I gave him my personal story about my heart and everything, and then I gave him the story about Bad Wabbit. And he jumped on it, was like, dude, I don't care what it takes. I want to totally do this. I want to be the only Bad Wabbit artist. I love this. This is great. And I got spoiled because he does everything. He does the pencil, ink, lettering, everything all by himself. Wow. And yeah, so I don't know what it's like to have to look for an inker or anything like that. I'm sure I will one day. What you're looking at right there, I put it on Amazon just for a little bit, just to see how it would do. And it got #1 best-selling Western graphic novel in 2 weeks of being on there. It beat Batman. So, I mean, it's not a bad book. The first script was actually 48 pages, and we ended up splitting it to get 2 books out of it. I drew that one right there, that Wabbit, and that one too. That was the first Bad Wabbit drawing ever. But I mean, it's a really good story. It kind of parallels my recovery, because before I got diagnosed with my heart condition, I was a raging alcoholic. I was polishing off 2 liters of whiskey a day, and I was a mess. And then they told me my heart was failing, and I kind of went cold turkey and started drawing and writing this. If you want to look at the video, you can see a lot more of the art that Tommy does. It's really, really amazing stuff. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a great story. Great artist. We're at 47 with 4 days to go. And I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say I was sweating a little bit. But I mean, in all honesty, if it doesn't fail, I'm already thinking about backup plans. So I'm not out of the game. I'm never going to stop doing this. I have been doing this with Tommy Guns since we started, and I've been doing it strictly on my disability check, which is almost nothing. So it's a passion, and I'm not going to stop doing this. The story is a redemption story, basically. It's a redemption story not only for the individual, but the planet itself. Because at the very, very first page of book 1, you get to see the planet from the orbit, and you can see it's trashed. So, the whole story is going to be about him, trying to get home, but it doesn't happen that way. So in the end, hopefully, he's a reluctant hero. Hopefully he saves the planet. And he's got his cool little friend, Toxic Pig there. That's a really good character. He's the Sam Wise of the series.
No, the pig is hilarious, bro. I love that mask and that getup.
The art again, fantastic. And
Yeah,
this could be this could be the very first show that I've seen where there's no superhero book.
Yeah.
All of us are pitching almost like not all ages, but the cartoony type fantasy, I guess is what you would call it.
Yeah, there is a strong uniting theme across the projects.
Yep.
Well, this is true. The ultimate goal, I guess, after I'm finished with the series, Tommy, like I said, he's an animator, and he's already agreed to do a full-on animated movie of it.
Nice.
So hopefully when we're done with this, we can get in and do that. And I can't wait to see it. That'd be great.
And just remember, even if it doesn't make it this time around, launch again, bro.
Yeah.
Don't take a week and relaunch. You know what I mean? We set it back up and just launch.
My animator or my illustrator, he already, like, in the midst of doing this campaign, he finished book 3.
Okay.
So if it fails for whatever reason, we're going to come back again and we'll have 1 through 3. I've already written book 4 and I'm almost done with book 5. My editor, Chris Philbrook, who was my favorite author before this, he has been on with us, helping us out every which way he can, and it's just been coming together really well, man. I'm really, really liking it. So
Just relaunched my first Power Company book. It hit goal and some, and I was like, yeah, this is amazing. And then the second one, it didn't. It failed. It did not reach goal, and it was basically the same setup as the first one, but for some reason it didn't. So just went right ahead, I think 2 weeks, and then relaunched, and that one ended up being successful. So just
I went all out on this one. I got plushies made for Toxic Pig. I've got gold bullion, gold doubloons made for Foxy.
You've been talking to Carissa?
Yeah, actually. But no, I mean, I've got a lot of cool stuff on it. It's just a matter of if anybody wants it or not.
Yeah. No, but like I said, man, I mean, just adjust your levels, and then just hit it hard the next time, and and like I said, and you're 4 days out now. You contacted me last week, so you got to get to me a little bit sooner, so we can start you off a little bit sooner. So maybe I could bring you off in the beginning of the campaign and towards the end of the campaign, and maybe we can help you out a little bit more.
That's cool.
All right. So let's see if we can bring up another campaign. All right. The producers at work.
What do you mean? Let's see. You should be able to do this, bro.
I told you I have a producer tonight, sir. I'm not in control anymore.
Good. What's this?
This is why things are going smoothly tonight.
Very good.
Okay.
They got the band hammer ready in case JD gets out.
Hey, listen, I'm ready to eject myself, so don't even worry about it. So, Marcus, what do we got here, sir?
Yes, sir. We got the latest and greatest comic from Odyssey Comics right here. This is Planet Pumpkin, which got its start in our sci-fi anthology, Critical Mass. We got to roll it up.
I love that.
Now we're
Excuse me, I'm
coming
sorry.
with the.
I love that right there, Marcus. That's nice.
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for it, but a writer Saint and a friend of his helped out and got that done. Just really cool, super cute. But Planet Pumpkin follows the story of a witch named Cranberry. She exists in a universe where magic and technology exist side by side. So everything from aliens to witches to vampires and ghosts and all other sorts of spooky, imaginative creatures exist in the same time and space together. Cranberry is herself a witch and also part of the pirate fleet known as the Underground Forest. Issue number 1 follows her journey as she's going to free one of her crewmates from the clutches of the evil Templars who have outlawed magic throughout the galaxy with reckless and harsh enforcement, as you'll see in some of the early pages that we'll have coming out for this one. I think the project just kind of speaks for itself. If you like things like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Rick and Morty, you're going to feel right at home here. This is one caveat I do have to do because a couple of people have asked me and I don't make it clear in the Kickstarter, which I needed to do, is that this is not an all ages book. Do not let the art style confuse you. There's violence in it and it is graphic. So it's a good juxtaposition between just this candy coated style that Robot Fish was able to bring and give the project, and really high stakes violence when it comes down to it. So I think if people like manga and animation, 100% for sure, they're gonna love Planet Pumpkin. I've been able to have this part of Critical Mass, and I see people when they pick up the book at conventions and they get to the Planet Pumpkin pages and like their eyes light up and they laugh at the story and and they buy it as soon as they see that story. And it pretty much is one of the things that I think when we decide to do it, I'm like, okay, this is something that like feels really innovative and fresh that isn't quite anything like I've seen in the Kickstarter space and some of the indie space for quite a while. So with the campaign, we have a number of different variants. We got one by Shu Yin. She was really just contributed a fan art piece, I think, for the second one we had. Yep, right there. And I was like, hey, fan art for something that doesn't exist. Hey, that's cool. I love that. And also, we'll go ahead and use that as one of our covers that we'll bring in. She also did some of the early concepts for Planet Pumpkin as well, too. So some of the character designs belong to her. We got artist Chen Yu Lee, who did our cover C variant. He just has this awesome, just like screen grab anime style, and this is just tremendous piece. And this was available also as a limited edition hollow foil giveaway that we did for 10 backers. So we were able to get 10 backers of the physical tiers, no matter what cost they came in at, got a random draw and get a free comic book included with their pledge. This is something that we're doing on pretty much every campaign now. We have character stickers. Robot Fish also did. Those are super cool. And one of our Odyssey artists, Francesco Salas, also did the Planet Pumpkin print. And it was this. We got figures. We got toys, man. These are going to be custom printed figures that we had based off of Robot Fish's work that we're going to have available for backers, both as add-ons and at some of the higher tiers. These are pretty limited edition. We only have 62 hours in the campaign, so if anybody sees these, they want to grab them. You gotta move fast on them. We're gonna have custom boxes that go along with them. We're gonna have these 3D 4K resin printed. They're 5 inches tall, so not teeny tiny little figures. These are good, decent sized figures you'll be able to display. The gold one was a limited 5 of 5 that we did as a giveaway too in the early stages of the campaign. And then in terms of all of our stretch goals, we unlocked every single one so far. So we get to include a holofoil trading card of the character Vermilion. We get a holofoil sticker, and we unlocked a holofoil variant that you can also add on to your purchase too when you go ahead and pledge.
Cool.
And other than that, yeah, we're pretty deep into production on it already. So we got a lot of pages. You don't have to play the video; it's not super pertinent to it. But Artist Shoot again did kick in with us a funny little thing, just to give us something to play for and entertain people. But this is probably going to cap off like we're about 60% of the way through production. So we'll get to finish everything off, and fulfillment will probably be set to close out in September of this year.
Nice. Now, this is the first issue. How many issues is the series?
This is going to be ongoing. So we're going to do multiple arcs, but we're just going to carry it as long as the story is good and we're feeling good and people are responding to it. We'll just keep running it. But everything in Odyssey that we typically do is pretty tight into. Nope. I hope to someday though. There might be news coming on that, so stay tuned. We are really trying to bundle things into volumes that themselves feel like complete stories. They usually go in 3 or 4 issue arcs. Most our stories are kind of like that, and then we go into the next big arc. So they'll feel almost like seasons of 3 or 4 issues, and then the next one comes through. I know Plant Pumpkin was something that the team, kind of conceptualized as being very friendly to animation and very much so evocative of that style, as you can see. And man, I hope if we get good reception to it, we can maybe look at pitching to some studios down the line too.
There you go.
Gotcha. Looks nice, man. Another 62 hours. You're already funded.
We're about to hit that last 48-hour peak. So yeah, we're already funded. We're over 300% funded. So it's been a good campaign for us so far. Since we're able to get a good amount of it funded through Critical Mass, we were able to pass that on to this campaign and come in with a lower goal, because we didn't need a whole lot to get things accomplished. And so far so good. So I'm hoping that just we really capitalize on the last 62 hours here and get some more out, because it really feels like the algorithms have been kind of kicking us in the butt. Our conversion is very high, but we're not getting a whole lot of people to the page. I'm doing my best to combat that, but yeah, it's been a slog.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've all been seeing a bit of a weird thing going on with that, so who knows? But look, it's a great looking book, man. And then here's a question I got for you, Marcus, is like, you're a spokesman for all of your artists and whatever, and I feel a kind of way because like I never see any of your artists on my show. Like, it's just you. Not that I mind just having you, but I mean, like, you just like tell them, no, I got this. That guy's crazy. He can't go on his show. Whatever.
I was like JD. He's a fucking bulldog. He'll bite your head off, man. You better
exactly. Yeah. So you ever watch that damn show?
I always give everybody the opportunity to go out. I think I don't know if it's by way of my personality or what things do, but typically when people are getting for a publisher, I think especially for me and how we do things at Odyssey, they like for me being the media mouth because they are very shy individuals.
No, you do a great job though. You do a great job. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna have you start doing shows for me. As a matter of fact, so
okay, we're gonna take it completely.
There you go.
I like the bizarro style of that work. I really like what you were presenting as like the Adventure Time type of artwork, and then it looks great. And there's some like crazy ideas. I don't know what he was gonna hit somebody with, but it was like looks like a tall blue spiky ice cream cone. That was like a bizarro idea. It's in one of the panels you had there.
Yeah, it's actually it's a spirit bird that he controls that like transmogrifies. So he turned it into a giant like club to whack all these
Glad you cleared that up. That makes much more sense than my giant ice cream cone.
Yeah.
But I like it. Whatever it is, it's crazy.
This is something I love about the project. It has like a lot of like Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball sort of vibes too. Like there's just random gonzo stuff going on in it all the time. You look at every panel that Robot Fish is laying out, there's something going on or some sort of like really interesting character or ongoing through throughout all of it, and just like little things built into it to build the world out. It's just like a stupidly crazy, insane, like fun time with the book.
Nice.
I'm excited.
I see all these things, all these cool fantasy books. You guys are really amping me up.
Yeah.
It's like I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you the diversity of comics that are really out there. You know, it just doesn't have to be just one thing. You know what I mean? There's so much going on. It's just great. You know, yeah. I'm just
The
you know,
pitch
I'm
of your
just bringing
world
up-
sounded a lot like so-called Living's world, where it's like
Yeah.
vampires and all this, everything's in the same world, but like absolutely completely different take on like
Yeah.
a similar idea.
And you can have alien vampires or alien ghosts, and
There
like
you go.
just, you know, all sorts of things.
All right, cool. Now, here's another world right here. Very nice.
What's this? What?
I'm sorry, my allergies are kicking
Don't
in.
start. We'll start. We'll pull it down. Don't start with that.
Hey, don't give me, don't take away my happiness, my joy. Come on,
Yeah,
bro.
Go.
Come on.
Talk. It looks
So,
great.
New York versus the world. It's my take on the zombie apocalypse here in New York City. I was always pissed when people would say, "Oh, New Yorkers will never survive the zombie apocalypse." Fuck that. That's bullshit. We'll persevere through all of this. But what happens is, when the zombie apocalypse went down, they flooded the tunnels, they blew the bridges, and it took them 15 years to clean out the city. Excuse me. Now that those 15 years are over, they are starting to let people in. But how do you treat the people that are coming in? Can you trust them? Do you feel that they worked enough? Every great zombie tale has some underlying layer and different message, right? You've had zombie tales deal with racism. You had them deal with consumerism or capitalism. This is dealing with xenophobia. It's my take on, build the wall. But what happens when you have a group of people on one side of the wall that want to keep their family safe, and another group of people on the other side of the wall who are looking to find a place to keep their family safe? Who's right, who's wrong in that instance? And you wrap it all up in a zombie apocalypse set here in New York City. The main character in this story is New York. In the very first issue, we're dealing with Ellis Island, where we're bringing in the refugees, which is also where the immigrants were coming in. The second issue, we went to Coney Island. The third issue, we're dealing with a part of Brooklyn that's called the Brooklyn Bridge area, right? Dumbo. So like I said, the main character is New York City. That is the black and white preview pages. I like black and white. A lot of zombie stuff is in black and white, and I'm not saying we can't go to color. There's the opportunity to do that, but I like black and white. We got our hard enamel pin. That's one of the options there. It's 1.5 inches. One of the cool things we were doing in the past, we're also doing it with this one, is we had these holochrome trading cards for all of our returning backers. So we've stocked up a nice little pile, and we're turning that to a set for those who have not backed any of our previous campaigns that want to get their hands on it. They can do that, but there is a zombie card that is also there for returning backers. We got our digital catalog, so you can pick up any book in the Unstoppable Comics catalog there. And then we have our shirts. Oh, shit, I just bit my tongue. We have our shirts. We got our logo shirt. Then we got our new icon, which is Betsy, the Zombie of Liberty. And she got a t-shirt there. For anybody who's a sneakerhead, I'm told that khaki t-shirt goes really good with the Jordan Olive 3s. So I don't know, maybe I might have to pick up a pair of that just to wear the shirt that I got. And then I got the new cover for New York versus the World #3, which is the Zombie of Liberty leading a horde through the city streets. Castro, if your stuff does not fund, don't worry, brother. This is my second time around the block with this book. All right, we just launched it last night. The first one failed to fund. Then I ran another campaign. Then the holidays happened. I ran another campaign, and we're coming back to this. We added another cover to this, and we prepped a few more stretch goals that we did not have prepped last time. So the opportunity is here to get people who hate New Yorkers to see them get chomped up by zombies, or for people who like New Yorkers to see them try to survive the zombie apocalypse. It's a win-win for everybody. You got to buy the book to get there.
So, you got anything on the 6 train?
No, not yet, dude. The tunnels are flooded. No trains.
Oh, that's right.
No
that's
trains
right.
are running at all, Papa.
So I gotta ask, why don't you have? Sorry, I'm curious as a new guy to Kickstarter. Why do you have New York versus the World on one account, and then you have your other Unstoppable Origins and your other characters? Seems like on another account. Because if I look at your name, it says you have like 7 projects under one and 4 in the other. So by clicking on you, it doesn't take me.
They've all been launched under my name, under JD Rosario. I don't know why they're separated like that.
Yeah, it's weird. That's why I was curious. It was like because I clicked on your name and it said it was like 7 projects. It was weird. Maybe I just clicked on the wrong thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I've run 24 of them, and I failed 3 times, and I had to cancel one due to a death in the family. So I call it Unstoppable Comics for a reason, right? You gotta get back up on the horse, man.
That's right.
But yeah, no, nothing is separated. All my stuff is all.
I just found the right link. Whatever I clicked on before just took me to like the one series, and the other one just took me to the other series. Okay. So I just clicked on the wrong thing. This is much better. Now I get to see everything.
Yeah.
But Jay, got me nervous. I'm like, did somebody steal my shit?
But Jay, I was just curious. Like in the title, I mean, does Chicago survive? Because I know how much you love the pizza.
Dude,
tread carefully on this question, JD.
Chicago has not been touched. I will say this: when I was at C2E2, I played the part of the heel when I was selling the first 2 issues. I was out there and I was like, you know what? New York City pizza is better than New York pizza. Prove me wrong or buy my book. I was selling them. You know, the only good baseball player to ever come out of Chicago was Frank Thomas. Everybody else is just a group of cheats, just like the Black Sox. Prove me wrong or buy my book. I went in on this hard, man. I went in on this hard, brother. And you know, we're looking for the money to raise the first. We're looking for the money to print up issue number 3. Issue numbers 1 and 2 are already printed up, right? So that's good to go on that. And then these are the holochrome trading cards that that was shown off before. So they're going to be coming in this hard acrylic top loader, protected because these are premium cards, and that's them. And you know, our stretch goals will have trading cards involved with them as well. So they will come at those stretch goals will come at no extra charge for anybody who is interested. Excuse me. Just stretching that dollar a little bit more.
All right,
cool. But the trading cards only go to physical backers. Digital backers, I'm sorry, you get the harumph on that one.
Yeah, that's what I did. I made it only available to physical backers.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to say that because they will ask.
Yeah.
You know, I played for a $5 digital reward. Where's my card? And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to pony up. You know.
Now, when you guys do your stretch goals, are you doing stuff that you can unlock and then add like an add-on or a different cover or anything?
There is that also, but the cards are all already pre-priced.
Yeah. So the way I did my stretch goals was that if you got a physical copy and we got to the stretch goal, it automatically gets added to your pledge. So everything's free as far as those stretch goals go.
Yeah, that's what I started shifting to as well, because after fulfilling a number of Kickstarters and doing some rather complicated orders, I was like, never again.
Yeah.
Everybody gets the same things.
Yeah.
I do the same. I'll usually do the physical reward for stretch goals, and then I'll do digital stuff for milestone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always easy to keep a uniform, because if the second you start breaking them up into different tiers, you're gonna drive yourself nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's Magi's Grace. We're down to 4 days. And listen, this is what happens when cryptids meets the supernatural world. So it's vampires meeting the denizens of Innsmouth. So we have H.P. Lovecraft crashing with Bram Stoker's Dracula, and we have a couple of new covers by C. Michael Lanning and Matt Lunsford. And that's it, Daphs. Move on to the next project. All right, I got 4 more days. It's in the link. It's in the show notes. So we have another project. We have Tall Tales running currently. So I just want to show that real quick. Then I want to get back to the actual show, ask our last question so that we can, entertain the folks. All right, here we go. And this is Tall Tales. This is issues 1 through 6 is the title I do with the producer right now, who's on the show right now. So she's we've been doing this, for a minute now. This is actually the first project we ever started on. We're still working on it. This is issue 6 of an 8-issue limited series. The second arc. And this is an action adventure. Imagine if Lord of the Rings met Disney, and this is kind of what you got. You got like a Dungeons and Dragons type adventure. It's a lot of fun. It's been going on for a long time. And yeah, so we have this. So go check it out and go buy as many copies as you can. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Daffy, that's enough of that. We're done. All right. So Marcus, your question.
Yeah, my question to the panel today is, how do you maintain focus on your projects? We have so much going on and life is rearing its ugly head. What do you do? And yes, I am asking this because I really want to know, because I am. Listen, I hired 3 people and I got them working. And I'm still just trying to get caught up. I know half of it is self-inflicted wounds. 100%, because I don't know when enough is enough. But I'm also in a funky predicament because during my day job, my company purchased 2 other companies just over the last 4 or 5 months. And I know this has been like a bane, and some people were back some of our campaigns like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know how to just tell everybody, like, I'm really fucking busy. I don't. Not a whole lot of time for extracurriculars or anything. So I'm really at the position now where I have to both maintain some semblance of sanity while also getting things out, and also while still trying to do some commitments on the art side that I have too. And it's a balance that I don't have the answers for quite yet, and it's still a tough one for me.
How are you not the CEO, Marcus?
How am I not the CEO of my company?
No, not you. And I know your company. I'm talking about the company.
My company, I am. The company I work
know. The
for.
company you work for, right? I mean, they throw all this work at you. They buy 4 new companies. Hey, Marcus, go to work, buddy.
Because I'm smart enough not to get promoted. With comics, I don't know how to not bite off too much, but in the day job, I know exactly where my limitations and how much I'm willing to do. So yeah. I give all the respect in the world to my CEO. He's actually a great dude. But I see how he travels and how hard he has to work. I'm not down for that. I got to make comics books. Yeah, that's on top of that too.
Yeah, I feel the same way about my boss. I'm like, lady, your job is safe. Keep it. Yes. I don't want it. I was like, God bless you. Keep it. I'm more than happy to stay here in New York. She's all over the place. I'm like, nah, I'm good. All right. So, Mark, please, what do you think of the question? Or what's your answer for the question? How do you keep it all together?
Well, for me, I got a lot of stuff going on myself. I got my my day job. I'm a contract video game designer. I used to do it full time, and I just left the office space like 2 years ago. So for the last 2 years, I've been contract work, and then I also have a YouTube channel called Board Game Coffee. So I do that. And then I try to do the comic book, like writing scripts and reviewing Marco's art. And I have a toddler. So that's my daily routine.
That's the other full time.
Right on cue.
So yeah. And in between there, you try to just live, and try to stay healthy, whatever. But for me to get things done, I have a very basic it's like a basic version of a digital calendar. I have like the art of like the full year, and I like in Photoshop draw colored lines like red. I block out this for this project, but that's blocked out for like after my regular work day. but basically I block out time and I'm like, that's all I do. I have a list of everything that needs to get done, but I mentally have to block everything out on that list, being like, I am doing this, I'm writing this script, I am doing this one thing, and that's all I'm doing till it's done. So I'm always prioritizing my list. So I'm always like, okay, this goes on top, so I try to go to the bottom and try and knock out the little ones. So I'm big with lists, but I'm not the most organized person. So when it comes to like complicated calendars, I'm not. That's why mine is just like Photoshop red lines, and in Photoshop, each layer is a different color. So it's like the red line layer. I was like, okay, what is that? It's that. Got it. So because I'm a very visual person, so I need that old school like calendar in front of me. And I was actually thinking of getting like some sort of whiteboard or something, so I can actually write things down myself. Because if it's not in front of me, it gets lost and then nothing gets done, and I'll get distracted by whatever. So I have to keep telling myself, check your list, check your list, check your list. So I literally block out time. So it's like, today I'm doing this. That's all I'm doing. And I, work 7 days a week. So I take no breaks. And I have to, one thing I get, this is a note from experience for anybody watching this who's like, I guess, getting into doing anything yourself, because like I co-founded a video game company as well. Is you got to give up some free time. Like you got to give up on some things you like to do, because that's the thing. It's a lot of work to do all this, to write comics, or if you want to start up a company, if you're doing it, you want to do anything else other than your 9 to 5, then you're gonna have to give up like movie nights or game nights or whatever those are, and you're just gonna have to sacrifice those things and realize that for a little bit you're not gonna get to do all the things you love as much. So make sure what you choose to do is the other thing you love to do. So I guess that's my bit. I focus on things I like to do. So I like writing, so even though I block out time and it takes time away from my family, I enjoy doing it. So that's in place of me like sitting down to play a video game or going out to watch a movie. I'll do that. So I no longer do those other things. So I'm behind on all my Netflix. I'm behind on all my shows. I'm behind on all the movies, and my comic book reading is just like plummeting. I try to get as much done in bed. So I try to read 2 or 3 a night.
My read pile is about a foot tall on my nightstand right now. Kickstarter boxes I haven't opened yet. So that I think that's also some good advice too, Mark. And I've been kind of thinking about the same thing myself lately. Like if I'm going to be doing something, I'm always juggling stuff. I'm spinning plates, and it's at this point in time where I gotta be like, okay, this is say Planet Pumpkin week. Everything that I need to be getting done for this needs to get done. Everything else has to shift over into next week.
It took me a while to realize that some of these plates, like,
they don't need to be spinning.
Screw them, fuck them. Let them fall, right?
Muscle top when it goes out to you.
Yeah, because as I'm going through my list, because my list gets longer and longer and longer, and then you get into the list mentality. So, I can do this, I can put this on my list and do that, and eventually you just look at it and you're like, do I need this? No. Do I need this? No. I'm always reviewing. It's like, nope. Just cut off these things. Yeah. It's like they're not needed. They can wait, and because you got to focus on the most important things, because if you don't, the trivial things are going to just bury your important project, right? Your important project is going to suffer because you got some like shit on your list that doesn't matter. But in your head, you feel like you got to get it done because you feel like I'm the hero that's got to get everything done. At some point, you just got to be like, no. And if you can get people to help you, like I try to get my wife to help me when she can, but again, toddler, if I'm doing something else, that's what she's doing. So it's hard, but she does what she can. Like this project wouldn't exist if it wasn't for her at all. Like, so she's my rock for this. All my and that helps too. Get somebody to support you, because if you're going to do anything on your own, there's going to come a time where you're going to be like, I'm a shit person. What I do is crap. I'm never going to get this done. Everybody hates everything I do. Like, if you don't have somebody like lifting you up, then you're just going to bury yourself under self-doubt, and it's fucking terrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yep. Carlos, what are your thoughts?
No, the curse of the mute got to Carlos too. God damn it.
It got me too. You almost got everybody now.
Never turn the mic off.
Is that bingo?
I think so.
Right across the board.
But Marcus, good question, because I am Mr. Procrastinator. I'm so terrible with focus. So what I usually do, I have a calendar. Like Mark, I have the calendar, and I usually try to peek into it every so often to try and see where I am with it. Um, and just like he mentioned, I had to drop some projects that I started and just did I really need to get started on it? So I was like, not really. So there's a few projects that I started that I've even posted art for that I just like, nah, it can wait until till I catch up. But really, I'm just not very good with the focus typically. So I am battling that. Um, Usually I can get back on focus with something like my creative team being on time. It's sometimes it can seem trivial, but just even the creative team being on time and dropping the stuff instead of you constantly having to beat the horse, it can certainly uplift you and bring you back into focus.
No, I think that's a good point. That's a good call out. It is an energizing thing. I was thinking about that personally because we have a project that's in development, and the artist reached out on it today. I didn't even know they started on it, and they're like 4 pages away from being complete. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where have I been? Have I been asleep for that long? But it got me hyped because I'm like, I love this project. This is one of the big things that we got coming out this year. And I was just like, okay, that was taking an 8 ball to the face right there. And I was like ready to get started on, so much more and go from there. And I think that's some of the things that comes with it too, is you get the malaise of so many things just kind of like churning, and when it becomes like that, it becomes harder to stay focused because you're not seeing the results of everything come out. It's just part of the process, is what comes down to it. But yeah, seeing pages come out and roll off and things like that, it helps keep you hyped a little bit.
Yep.
It does. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I try to keep the calendar as lined up as I can and try to fight my own procrastination nature.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Before you speak, you're on mute, Chris. There you go.
You shouldn't have told me that, and then I could have also given into the curse. So for me, it's I follow like a really strict routine. So I wake up every morning at about 4:30 and I work out, and then immediately after that start doing my creative work. I like to see, I think creativity is a muscle just like anything else. So like, you set aside time for it and you force yourself to do it every day, and then it becomes a routine. And so I do that every morning until, really, and then my 6-year-old gets up, and then we play for a little while, and then I go to my day job, and then I come home, and then after we get him down in the evening, then I do the side of things that's less creative. So like the newsletter writing or the prepping of updates for Kickstarter if I have a campaign going, that kind of thing. So it's just really, for me, strict routine, and then prioritizing all of the different projects that I want to do, because I've got a billion things that I want to do, and then just figuring out what it is that I want to spend that time on every day.
Fair. Anthony, what are your thoughts?
Staying focused is difficult around here. I've got a 9 and 11-year-old boys that I homeschool. I'm disabled, so I don't have a job. I stay home all the time. So I have a lot of time on my hands to create things and do things. I'm not trying to stay strictly in comics. I want to build a business where my comics are like a household name. You can find them in video games, toys, merch, just like I'm trying to do all kinds of stuff, and it keeps me busy. So when I'm not dadding, I just completely focus on Bad Wabbit, and I try to come up with cool things to make him more noticed in the world as far as comic books and everything else. It's really cool. I think that Mark does video games. I'm gonna have to pick his brain because that's one of the things I've been really wanting to get done for Bad Wabbit is get him like a Double Dragon, maybe Streets of Rage kind of game going on.
They're big on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
They are.
But yeah, I mean, I get to where like I start writing, and I may write 5 words, and then it's, hey, Dad, I need, or Dad, can you help? And so it's really hard to stay focused. But I write as often as I possibly can, and there's days when I'm just on a roll, and it's like, Dad, I need. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to get it yourself because I'm not stopping right now. It's like I've got to really try to do it. But like I said, I love doing it, and I love bringing my story to life. So as far as the artwork goes, I don't really have to worry about that. Tommy Guns, my artist, he lives in my head, it seems, because like nice. I write the script, I give it to him. And sometimes when he sends me back some of the sketches that he does for the pages, it's literally what I was seeing in my head. And I'm just like, damn, that's crazy. And when it came to book 3, we barely even finished book 2. And he was like, hey, should I start book 3? I was like, well, I haven't paid you all the way for book 2. He's like, don't worry about it. I got it. And like 4 days later, he had almost the whole entire thing sketched out. I was like, that's freaking insane. So, yeah, I mean, staying focused it just happens when I can. It happens when I can. But when I do. So,
yeah, I know that's a massive thing too. I was actually in the process of. Actually, I'm not in the process. I completed the process. So I found an artist who all my personal projects, the art game, interior arts, not for me anymore. I said, there's no time. I found an artist who, from face value, had a good approximation for my style, and I turned over one of my projects to him. And then he was coming back with the pages, and it's funny because I already did about 6 of these pages. He started them from scratch, and I was like, okay, just off of whatever he could glean from the script, and I kept it pretty light to give him a lot of creative freedom. He was coming back with like beats and then layouts that were almost exactly the same. How's that laid out? And even some characters that didn't even have descriptions for them, but visually, like their appearance like carried over. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then in terms of the actual rapport, I think I told them to change like one thing, which was like a cell phone, the look of a phone.
Yeah,
that was it. Project done. In
nice.
a week and a half's time. So I'm gonna handcuff him and keep him going on whatever I can toss his way.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of the concept art for my books, but I hand them to him, and he just like puts it on crack. I mean, it's
that's kind of where I am. I do the concept and get the vibe down. And
it's always beautiful when you can find synergy with an artist. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Rosario, how do you keep it together?
I got a to-do list. I try to focus on a to-do list, but at the end of the day, it's whatever fire is burning brightest, you tackle that one, right? And wherever I got free time on it, when I write at the day job, I got the headphones plugged in, and it's did it Siri take a note, right? And sometimes she records exactly what I want to say. Sometimes she does the exact opposite, but somehow that also brings me magic. And then when I get free time, I compile that little by little. I work from the outline, expand the outline, first draft, second draft, stuff like that. When it comes to the writing, emails, I only do emails one time a day, man. One time a day. That's it. 7:30 in the morning. I tackle as many as I can in 30 minutes, because if not, emails will take up your entire day, man. Again, social media, I mentioned that earlier. There's so much going on. I really don't have time to focus on all that social media because I'm always working on something else with one of my books. I'm really upset that Chris said he gets up at 4:30 and he works out. What the fuck you doing, dude? All right, I get up at 4 and I'm out the door at 4:30 for work. So God bless you, sir. All right, to find time.
I used to be that guy.
Yeah, that's not me.
Then I hit 40 and then it was done.
Yeah, listen, I'm playing the back nine of my 40s, right? And like steps have become my mortal enemy. We don't want to buy a house that has more than one floor, more than half an acre. That shit is out the window right now. But that's it, dude. You go in with a game plan, and every day it's second half adjustments. What's oh shit, the problem right now?
That's cool.
No, it's not.
Well,
no, it's not. I mean, I want to say I'm focused. I do want to say I'm focused, but I'm not. It's like, holy shit, that plate I'm spinning is about to drop, and so are the 40 others. Fuck.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I mean, for myself, I don't know. Like, since I'm consistently doing campaigns, right? So the stuff's already done for the most part, right? So it's me always during the campaign, catching up, making sure it's completely done so that by the time the campaign is done, I can send it to the printer. So that's where I'm at. And then daily, I always do my writing. I try to put in an hour or two every day. And that's just something I do. I mean, that's something I just got to make time for no matter what happens. And then just the rest of it, I just, if I have to letter, I'm lettering 2 or 3. It's just consistency. It's just doing it every day. And I just do a little bit of something every day. Sometimes it's editing, sometimes transcribing, sometimes it's editing, sometimes it's lettering. And then just about every day I'm dealing with an artist on some level. So, I just try to do it fast. That's all. If you ever see me shoot off emails, I mean, Jay's talking about 30 minutes. I'm like 5. I'll knock off like 10 people in 5 minutes. Okay, there you go. Nice. I don't even like the artists. I mean, they send me their pages. I'm like, thank you. And I haven't actually, I don't even talk to them. Like we've already straightened it out. We're just like, look, just send me the stuff. I don't need to have a big conversation. I paid you. Have a nice day. Because it's they got stuff to do. I got stuff to do, and it just, I don't have time. I know, Marcus, how many artists are you dealing with on a regular?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, see, that's bad. You can't even. I have to take off my shoes and help you count. It's terrible.
Yeah. I think at this point, I want to say total creators on active projects at Odyssey is about 45.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. I want to sum this up into one thing, and maybe it shows everybody how old I am or how old we are. Do you all remember watching The Simpsons at any point in your life? There was this one thing where they try to explain why Mr. Burns is so old and why he hasn't died yet. And they showed a door frame. They showed all the germs and viruses and deadly things in his life just getting jammed up in the door frame, and not one being able to push through to actually be the one to kill him. Right? That's my brain, right? That's the door frame. That's everything just getting fucking jammed up right there, right? And I hope I'm not alone in saying that.
The Three Stooges philosophy, like they can't all get through at the same time. Nope. But yeah, that's how it is like to me. Also, my problem is like I'm a little bit too much of like the fucking softie when it comes down to it. I think I owe everybody a large portion of my attention and time if they have inquiries and things like that. And that's something also I have to get better with. It's like someone will come back to me, I'm working on stuff that probably won't see the light of day until 2025. And I need to just be able to be okay with myself and not be okay to say like, hey, we don't even have, script to look over for this. Like, keep it in your pocket for like a few weeks. And I'm like, because at this point in time, if it's not coming up on, our release schedule for this quarter of the year, Like, I don't really need to be having in-depth discussions.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
it's just protecting my time, and also there, because it's a creativity thing. It's gonna change. It's gonna mutate at some point in time. So you can't you really put too much stock into what something that's going to be happening at a very early stages or something, because the likelihood it will stay on that trajectory is pretty much zero. So don't get over invested into it.
All right, cool, gentlemen. We made it to hour 2. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Let's start with Chris. Please, Chris, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Sure. So my website is cbrimmage.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook as Christopher Brimmage Author. And then on TikTok, it's the opposite. So author Christopher Brimmage, underscores between each word.
All right, cool. Let's start on the other end. Carlos, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Okay, first I want to quickly, in the comments, this entire show I've been putting in the wrong damn link. I've been putting in the link. I've been putting in the link for this show instead of my shit. So you can tell I haven't done this show for a while because, yeah, I like a moron. I've been putting in. So if you click the link that says MailChimp, you can get a free 16-page comic preview for Pandora's Army. But it's the one that says MailChimp, not the one that's got this link. On top of that, you can find me at on Facebook at Carlos Raphael, or basically it's Carlos writer Carlos Raphael on Facebook. On Instagram, it's at Champion Comics Group. On X or Twitter, however you want to say it, it is at Carlos F. Raphael. And you can also go on my page, find the links, click them all, and have a blast.
There you go. Mark, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Well, as far as So-Called Living goes, the Kickstarter, you can check it out there. We got SoCalledLiving.com. And as far as socials go, just look up So-Called Living. If it's that's how it's written here, that's all our socials. Nice. And I also got our YouTube channel, Board Game Coffee, which we also promote So-Called Living on there. But Board Game Coffee, again, just go by Board Game Coffee on YouTube and Instagram, whatever. And that's it. That's where you can find us.
All right, cool. Anthony, where can they find you and your work, sir?
DMWcomics.com is my main place. On there, you can subscribe for free. You can get a digital copy of book 1. You can read some blogs, some reviews. I have a gallery on there of all kinds of concept characters and concept art. Also, you can find DMW Comics on Facebook. That is my main place where I tell everybody what's going on, and add everybody there so they can be in the loop. But yeah, that's really about it.
All right.
Oh, I forgot one thing. If you did want to check out the first issue of So-Called Living for free, just go to Global Comics and type in So-Called Living.
There you go.
That is all.
Marcus, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Find us at odysseycomics.com and on Twitter/X, whatever you prefer to call it, on @comics_Odyssey. Also stay tuned. We got some big announcements we're going to be putting out this week on some new projects and things beyond that.
Nice. So are you going to a bi-weekly schedule on Kickstarter?
Me? Next month we got 2 we're going to be launching, and I think we're going to have an Indiegogo campaign too. So I'll have 3 crowdfunding campaigns running at the same time.
Nice. Look at you trying to take over the world.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
I'll be cool with just a state or 2. I'm not greedy.
All right, nice. All right, Jay, where can they find you and your work, sir?
unstoppablecomics.com. You can find all my social media links on the website. And please check out New York versus the World #3 right now on Kickstarter for the next 27 days. Get yourself some zombie action.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. So you can find me here, most social media on the JD Calderon. Most Sundays right here with this guy and some other people, always some fantastic creators. And currently on Kickstarter with Magi's Grace and Tall Tales. So go check those out. And just remember, everybody, all the links are in the show notes. So if you want, click on those links. Go help out these creators. All of them are doing fantastic books. Please hit those links. Go get some awesome books. These books are all awesome, and they all deserve your support because, I mean, they're great books. And it's not even a thing about support. Is these books are there to entertain you. Go get entertained. You know, that's what we need to do. Go get entertained. All right. Yeah. So just remember, everybody.
It's not support. I'm giving you toys. God damn it! Buy the toys.
Exactly. Buy the toys. So just remember, everybody. Read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Later.
Peace.